is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
Excuse me as I rock on. That's Went Away by Dorothy Lane. Dorothy Lane out of Martinez, California. That's out of the Cut and Dry album. Check them out at dorothylanemusic.com. Yeah. Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. This is Ruel Abadam, coming to you asynchronously. What's going on? If you are a new listener, this is going to be a quickie intro to listening to this silly show. If you are a return listener, welcome back. So let's kick it off, shall we? Welcome to the What's Cooking. What's cooking, you all? Yeah. So if you are a new listener, the podcast initially rolled off as a sort of an NSNG inspired sort of testimony to is that even a way to phrase it? Like, several years back, I was introduced to a no sugar, no grains way of eating, and it was a great shift in nutrition for me. So if you're curious to know how that sort of panned out, and if you're able to dig up the first handful of episodes, you'll that's where you'll catch it. But long story short, I, like a lot of people, I struggled with weight up and down, and I know that I said we're going to go into what's cooking, and here I am kind of going off to this direction, but oh well. That's the beauty of having your own sort of podcast. You can just kind of go whichever way you take it. So yeah, like a lot of people, I struggled with my weight. Not as much as others, but still enough in my own body to feel to experience a level of unhealth, weight gain, eczema, migraines, and some other weird stuff. And I started to do this running thing, 5K, 10K was sort of like the usual, having done cross country in high school. And then, just for the heck of it, I just started upping my miles, a point in time while I was out on a midday lunch run. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have much to go back to. I can kind of stretch out my time on the trail, and I'll just keep running. And I got myself up to like 12 miles at one time, and I figured, I maybe should challenge myself and sign up for a half marathon. Did that, then quickly signed myself up for a full marathon. Did that, and I trained and fueled in a typical way at that time. And the typical way was, carbo loading prior to the event, and suck on, gels and suck down Gatorade. So that a lot of that happened, and as a result, despite the level of running that was more than I had ever done in high school, I was heavy. I was heavy, and it didn't make any sense. But I was more focused on the mileage and not the weight. And I bonked during the first marathon, and was so unsatisfied by my performance that I decided to no longer sign up for paid events and just take on a 50K solo, and did that on my own terms, accomplished the distance, but still wasn't happy about the fact that it took as long as it did for me. And I thought that maybe I need to change up the way I ate so that I could better support in my running, and maybe that could translate to a better performance going longer. And what I did was I started to gravitate towards being a vegetarian, and was on the verge of switching to vegan. And I had only done it for a few months, vegetarian, and it was like crappy vegetarian, like order something from Panda Express and just pick out the meat, and ate everything else. So, so then, long story short, I found NSNG, and found that there was a way to not have to give up meat, and a way to lose weight, and a way to fuel my runs at the same time. And it took a while, but it took a while to understand how and why. Started off with some faith, and then learned a bit more. And this is around the time when fat for fuel was becoming more popular. Ketosis wasn't that popular, and I started the podcast to celebrate my weight loss and my performance, my running and all that stuff. I'm still slow as heck, but I'm able to over the years participate, unlike folks that I've gone to high school with and ran cross country with, who just ended up calling it quits due to just not feeling they can pull it off, mainly because of injuries and things like that. So so I was happy, I was feeling high. I said, I'm gonna switch on a podcast, I'm gonna do a podcast, and I'm just gonna be someone online who can talk about his experience, in case there was somebody else out there who wanted to know what it was like to take on sort of that nutritional shift and still kind of do these things, and just be regular. I figured, not regular as in gastrointestinal regular, but be average. Average me. All right. So anyways, that was my long way around of saying that there's going to be a meat component to things that I talk about when I go into what's cooking segment, and more so than it used to be, because my NSNG-ness has evolved and also been customized for the sake of experimentation and for the sake of continually trying to fine-tune my nutrition, or depending on my goals are at that time of the period. Maybe I'll have a desire to see if I could lean up, or seek more nutrition in a more bioavailable form, versus like having to take supplements, go for supplements. Maybe there's a food form that I could stand to take. Anyways, so what's cooking? Dun, dun, dun. Well, nothing but I'll go in reverse order. The last thing that got shoved in my mouth. I've reported on it before, and I'm going to report on it again. It's sashimi with a yellowfin tuna, and it's also ribasashi from calf liver. So it's 4 ounces of tuna, 4 ounces of calf liver, both sliced, both raw. The sashimi is enjoyed with what's called no soy sauce. It's a gluten-free, soy-free soy sauce alternative, and I think I mentioned it before. It's the closest one can get to a soy-free soy sauce, in my opinion, that I could at least find. So, yeah. There is a squirt or two, or actually a nice big heaping, go at the tube paste of the wasabi. And believe me, if I could find it sort of in its raw form or whole form, I would prepare it that way versus getting it out of a tube or a jar or whatever, because it's there's always going to be some element of stuff that you really don't want. But I do need the wasabi, so with my sashimis, and that's that. Very simple. 4 ounces of raw fish. And the ribisashi, I try to thaw out a frozen steak of calf liver, and and if you thaw it to a certain point, it just gets really like jelly. So if you can get it still kind of firm from having been frozen, it'll be easier to handle, and it'll quickly thaw as you've played it and sort of get it ready for consumption. But it's simply as it sounds. It's just raw calf liver sliced like the tuna was. And as a sauce, I used to just do the no soy, but now what I've done is I've done a mixture of vinegar, whatever you have on hand. I had apple cider vinegar. I did a mixture of the vinegar with the no soy, some minced garlic, and some diced onions, just to add a little sort of twist to the flavor of the sauce. And that was it. 8 ounces total of raw goodness. That's what was cooking, which was not really cooking, was it? And what was really cooking was I had grilled beef short ribs, which I had lightly marinated with the no soy sauce, some minced garlic and diced onions, and a hit of lemon juice, lightly marinated for a few hours with a mixture of that, and then I just grilled it. I charred it good on one side, and then that was just by accident. They were really kind of fatty cuts, so all that fat, as you imagine, as it sort of drips onto the flame, it just starts a fire. So that's what's cooking. Yeah.
Do you need a website? If you're an individual, a consultant, a group, or small business and need a site, or maybe you have an existing site, I can help. How about graphic design? Do you need a design for a t-shirt, logo, product, business cards? Maybe you need help with designing and developing a brand. I'm not an expert, but I do have the tools and the techniques to get the job done. How about a podcast? Yep, like this thing. This thing's a silly little show. Are you looking to set up a podcast of your own? Are you looking to reach an audience? Promote your business via podcast? Well, Abadam Studios. That's right, Abadam Studios. Yeah, so that's Abadam Studios. AbadamStudios.com, AbadamStudios.com. Check it out.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.